Hi, my name is Rachel Nukai and I'm happy to see you on Consent Hub once again. Today we are going to talk about how to navigate consent in intimate relationships. Just like we have said previously, consent requires open communication. Communication is the basis of how to establish consent in any type of relationship, be it intimate or not. Today, particularly, we are going to talk about the intimate relationship, so more or less delve into people who are already in a relationship or couples that live together, and more especially, or even those people who engage in intimate activities without even living together. I see you. But but most importantly, you need to communicate. You need to be able to talk about how openly about your sex life, how you want your sex life to be like, your expectation of your sex life, and etc. We all have different appreciations of sex, and we all have different expectations of sex. What sex should be like, how we want it like, how it should feel like, etc. So, if you have a partner that you get to be intimate with, it is just right to have a conversation about that topic and not leave it to, oh, when we meet, we will see, or it is just vibe. Who taught you that? And later you end up being frustrated, in quotes, and feeling or resenting the other person because they did not meet your expectation that you did not talk about. You did not talk about it. Do they read minds? Nobody reads minds. So sit down, or if you can't sit down physically eye to eye, send it in a text, say it in a video call, say it in a voice note. I like this, I like that, I like that, I like that. How do you want your sex life to be like? Even for couples who live together, I've always wondered, yes, let me ask my question as well. I've always wondered how they navigate their sex lives, especially consent in that circumstances, because sometimes people say that it's not because you are married that consent is a forever thing. That will bring us to our second point, that consent is not a one-time agreement, it is an ongoing process. So if you have already spoken and said what you want, and then it happened before and it did not meet your expectation, although you have expressed your expectation, that person do not have to assume that they have your consent forever, because it happens once or whatever, depending on the type of relationship you have. This is about intimate relationships. So people have a lot of people that they have intimate relationship with. So I don't know how you navigate that, but consent is not a one-time thing. It is a process. So you can get up to call your sneaky link again and ask, are we still on? Yes or no? If they say no, if you have another sneaky link, you move on to that. Maybe. But for those who are already in a relationship, it might be dicey, when you're married and then like, oh, because they pay your bride price, you need to do their do. That is it. You need to give it to him. You need to give it to her. But how about navigating feelings, navigating emotions? How about navigating even the mood in the room? Talking about it. Oh, honey, today I don't feel right. I don't feel okay. I do not want it. Fine, fair. You watch TV, you watch Netflix. Now you finally have the chance to watch the Netflix all the 1 hour or the 3 hours of the series without interruption, because nobody is engaging in any activity because you've spoken about it. Or how about saying we can do it today, maybe tomorrow, or I'll feel better, And there is a story of someone saying that now that you are married, your body does no longer belong to you, because every time they want, you need to open your legs and give it. But all those things will not be happening if you people have spoken about consent prior or before getting into the relationship. Preferences: maybe you do not like to have sex late at night, but you prefer having the dawn sex. So if they wake you up at dawn to have sex, you do not feel irritated or angry because you have said you like dawn sex compared to night sex. But As human beings, mood, humor, and boundaries change. So it brings us to the third point: navigating boundary in an intimate relationship. If you had said that you like, let's say you like foreplay, and the person has been doing foreplay, but you have reached a certain point in your life that, well, you prefer to get straight into it before the foreplay, and you didn't say it, the person starting the foreplay, and you are angry. Why do you do that? Say it. Sit your partner down. Maybe he's a new person in your life and doesn't know that, but the other person knows it. I don't know, but just communicate as you grow, as you develop, as you see and know yourself and know what your new boundaries are, what the old ones are, how you want to navigate these things. I think even after getting intimate, people ask, how did you feel it or whatever. They want to review. It is a good thing to establish what went wrong and what you should better up and what needs to change or what needs to come in next. Why not? Be open about that and express your sentiments and your boundaries, okay? And also respecting each other's boundaries. If your man says, do not put your hands in my butt, don't do it. Don't say because, oh, I know because they said, don't do it. Respect the boundaries. If your girl says she doesn't want you giving her head, but you are someone who likes to give head, don't do it because you like to give head. If she says she doesn't like it, she doesn't like it. You can have a conversation about it. You can tell her about how she can benefit from it or not. If she's okay with it and finally has agreed to do it, fine. But do not force it. Like, do not just give a head because you like to give head without probably talking about it. Okay, certain things seem strange to certain people in intimate relationship, and that will bring us to the next point: talking openly about fantasies and expectations. People have different fantasies when it comes to intimate relationship. You have no idea. People like to be tied to the bed. People like to be beaten. People like sex toys to be included in their intimate activities. And there are some people who also like none of that. Like, they are just reverse cowgirl. They do not know. Doggy. They do not know. Missionary. Yes. And imagine those two people. There is someone that is wild and there is someone that is calm. Imagine those people coming together without talking prior, without talking or setting the expectations or talking about fantasies before. Because some of these things are into the domain of fantasies because, yes, they are not what everybody does. Sucking toes, doing this, doing that. You know? If my mother is watching this, I would like to say that I am innocent. I learned all these through books. Let's continue. Sucking toes and all this kind of thing, and they come together without talking about their fantasies or without giving consent. I mean, it will be a disaster and you both will be frustrated. In every relationship, dating or whatever, and so far as intimacy is concerned, consent is primordial. It is very important to talk about, to give or to retract consent. It is not because you have given your consent once that it is forever. It is not because you have said yes to certain things to happen during your intimacy moment that you still want it to go on. So if your mood and intention change, make sure you communicate with the other person. If you have a new partner or someone new, make sure you communicate. If you people are married or living together as couple, for married people, I think that is a bit dicey for me to talk about, but I have a question. How do they navigate their sex lives? Like, I really want to know, because people tend to think that once you are married, consent to sex is forever. And I'm also saying that consent is a process. So I'm not married. I haven't been married before. and I don't know how those things work. So since we are all sharing and learning from each other, I would really like to know how you navigate the intimacy aspect in a marriage setting where people say that consent is one time thing. Do you have the communication priorities in the moment that you will learn to know that your partner is no longer comfortable or not? So I hope that with all these few points of mine, I've been able to convince you and not confuse you. I'll see you next week Tuesday on Consent Hub. Bye.